They say the boy fresher than he ever been. So wavy, moving numbers like Aerosmith, moving units, moving through music. Let's in the air, celebrate. This is the Ace of Spades.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? My name is Dre Lavelle, the Bread Talker. Good afternoon, good evening. Listen, just coming to you today for another episode of Bread Gems for Them. Today we're going to talk about the creation of discipline and breaking the chains of procrastination. As you was just listening to one of my mentors and people I've been following for years, Mr. Jim Rohn. Listen, I find a lot of his philosophies to be so important in my life. And once I've learned how to implement some of the things, then I learned to come out of my shell, out of my bubble. What prompted this particular course of communication was the fact that something I deal with, something I see many others deal with, dealing with procrastination, dealing with learning how to put certain things out of the way, learning how to deal with just life in general without being so distracted and noticing what those distractions are. What are some of the things that reminded me of this? I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I said, listen, you want somebody to take you serious for the things that you want in life, yet what you give back in return is at a bare minimum or nothing at all. You sit and wait. Somebody will instruct you to do something, and what you do in return is either you don't do the deed or you just do it later. There's a problem in that, because when you're building that muscle of continuity, when you're building that muscle of reliability, you can't give and receive negative at the same time, right? You can't give negative and expect positive back in return. Understand? Well, I told the person, I said, listen, I want you to keep thinking about this. If I asked you to make up your bed, to complete an assignment, if I said, I need you to go across the street and I need you to deliver this package at such and such time, right? That means it needs to be done at a specific time, especially if I give you a specific time. If that task doesn't get done, then we're either delayed, we're late, or we might lose a client because of it. But it's something so small as take out the trash. It's something so small as go take the dog for a walk. It's something so small as waking up in the morning at a particular time so that you can be at your job, at your school, at an appointment at a particular time. If you create bad habits, then guess what you get back in return? Bad habits, right? I was thinking about this. It said procrastination says settle. It's okay to be late. It's okay if I just do a little bit just to get by. Procrastination says who cares? No one is gonna know the wiser. The problem is your credibility is being shot the whole time you disrespect the time barrier to get things done. Think about it. If you sit and wait for an opportunity to come your way, then it will never happen. 9 times out of 10, it won't happen. But it's just that 1% where you may get lucky. And if you base your success, if you base your fortune, if you base your education, if you base greatness on luck, well, good luck. 9 times out of 10, it's not going to happen, right? Goal here is to help point you in the right direction, help you create disciplines, help you create a timeline for yourself to get things done. If at any time you think that having a fun day at going at the beach is a great thing to do, as opposed to sitting, waiting, calculating, strategizing, and find out how one day you can possibly own the beach, imagine what that would look like. Let's put that in a more context. You want to go out and have fun. You want to go out to the club. You may want to put your responsibilities off to the side because you want to just have fun. You want to enjoy the moment. Except for one thing, there's the problem. Those one moments that you create for yourself, is a legacy that you're building up for yourself? Nothing. You're building up a legacy of fun. Where's the work ethic? Where's the time and the sweat equity? Where's the balance? Where's the balance in your life? These are the things that I often tell myself. Dre, I need to get up in time. I have to get up. I have to make up my bed. Right? That's one of the first things I do in the morning. I have to purge my body of whatever negative thoughts. So I meditate in the morning. I focus on how I breathe in the morning. Well, you say, well, Dre, I always breathe. I wake up, I just breathe. But I want you to think about, how do you breathe? Think about when you wake up in the morning, how do you breathe? Is it long? Is it patient? Does it give you time to reflect? Do you stretch? Or do you just breathe and just go about your day? I know some people, that's what they normally do, right? Start your day off with a regimen. And throughout the day, build upon that regimen and be conscientious of what you're doing and how you're doing it. I often notice that having a schedule works. Sometimes you're moving about, you feel like you don't have time, because you always have time, but you feel like you don't have time to create that schedule. You feel like you don't have time to create that budget. You feel like you just don't have time. My friend, you have to make the time. You have to make the time, or else time is going to make you, right? It'll make you pay for what you didn't do yesterday. That's what time does. For what you didn't accomplish or what you didn't take care of today, the bed you didn't make, the grass you didn't cut, the preparation that it takes for you to do a presentation, the preparation that it took for you to prepare yourself for a job interview. You just went to the interview. You didn't do the research. You didn't find out who the company was or who the person may be that's doing the interviewing. You didn't find out the intricate parts about the job or the position. You didn't take time to find out the answer to these questions. Who are you? What are the positives and what are the pros and cons of what you can be for our business or our company? What can you bring? Many people, you can name the positives. But when it comes time to mentioning anything about the negatives or the cons, it's a hard time. You're hard pressed. If you do the due diligence and take the day, take the hours, take the week, whatever time it takes for the preparation, then your success outcome, I promise you, is going to be a whole lot better. I just study, I research, I do a lot of reading. Or if I don't do reading with a book, I do an audible. So I'm always listening to something that's going to help change or stimulate my mind. This wasn't an often practice that I did at an early age, because I promise you, reading books just to sit down and read a book was difficult for me. Not that I couldn't read. I could read quite well. I could speak quite well, even at a young age. But I just was lazy. I procrastinated a lot. It was unfortunate. That was something that I used to deal with, or I've dealt with, and I'm still continue to deal with, but I'm more conscientious today. I had to learn how to do as well. And this is something that I told somebody the other day. I said, practice on doing incremental reading. What did I learn? I don't know where I learned that from, but I heard about it. And they said, why don't you try doing, excuse me, let me take that back, because we don't say the T word, but why don't you attempt at doing incremental reading? That means if there is a time frame of an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, and I'm looking to do some reading around that time frame, why don't I look at reading 10 minutes at a time? Or recognizing, or 10, 15 minutes, whatever the time frame is. Every 10 minutes, I take a slight break, a 2-minute break, whether it's me standing up, stretching, stepping outside the door, letting some air hit my face, sticking my head out the window, go into the bathroom, splash some water on your face, because at times reading, I can get a little sleepy-eyed, right? Or I may be reading and I'm just not getting all the information that I'm reading. It's not truly comprehending. I'm just reading to read. How often can you, any of y'all in the comments down below, how How many of you read sometimes and you're just reading and you find yourself not understanding? Let's be honest. Listen to people. Man, I read 10 chapters today. I read 5 chapters today. And you go back and ask them what did they read, and you may get 1 sentence, maybe 2 sentences, right? Now, this isn't everybody, and I'm just saying this is everybody's situation, but for a great many of people, they have a hard time remembering what they just digested. You can remember all the food that you have eaten. If I put a plate right in front of me and I just devour it, I'm going to remember if I had turkey, if I'm going to remember if I had chicken, I'm going to remember if I had mashed potatoes, I'm going to remember if I had lettuce, I'm going to remember I'm going to remember what I had. Sometimes there's times where you just digest so much information, just like regular food, and you're just consuming to consume. You're not taking account for the calories. You're not taking account for the carbohydrates and all what are the products that I'm actually putting in my body. How much sodium am I putting? High fructose corn syrup in my body? Is the ingredients that, do you even bother to look at the ingredients? See, what I'm saying is, take the time to understand what it is that you're doing, what you're reading, what you're looking at. You may have to read a little bit slower, or you may have to pull yourself away. Either way, you allot yourself a specific time frame, 30 minutes to an hour, to digest the information in this book, or to listen to the information, right? A lot of times, I'm listening to a book, or I'm listening to information that's powerful or impactful information. I'm digesting it, but I'm occupied with other things. I may be cutting the grass or doing outside work or just whatever I'm doing, right? And a great many of times I'm listening, I'm digesting a lot of that information, but oftentimes I find myself, it's going over my head. Instead of just stopping and saying, hey, Dre, let's go back and just re-listen to the information, I may just keep continuing to go on ahead. I'll catch myself and say, Dre, was that procrastination? Did you just practice procrastination again? Then I'll discipline myself. I'll say, no, Dre, you need to go back and reread and re-listen to that information. Do it often. Listen, I know it's the long way, but listen, a lot of times it's the right way. And if it's a time crunch thing, listen, just map out the amount of time that it takes for you to go through the subjects, so you can be a better presenter. You can be better in your life. You'll develop these habits that will allow you to create and break the chains of procrastination. We create these disciplines. Often you hear it, I don't know, there's a lot of channels out there. There's a lot of sources to get this information. Some of them, my peers and my mentors I like to listen to is Bob Proctor, Les Brown, even Grant Cardone or Jim Rohn, or just some of the few of the many people that I may listen to. Another thing that I will recommend you doing, something I recommended to another person, I said, listen, who are the top 5 people that you follow, right? Can you identify the top 5 people that you follow, that you may listen to on a consistent basis? You have a social media friend, a social media peer, or a YouTube, somebody that you watch on YouTube, or a book, or an author that you listen to. Who is the top 5 people that you follow on a consistent basis? A lot of people can't identify who those top people are because they just focused on other things. Who are the top 5 music artists that you listen to? Who are the top 5 entrepreneurs that you may follow? Who are the top 5? Who are the top 5? And I believe if you can identify who those top 5 people are, then you can identify who you are or what you are becoming. And if it's nobody in particular that you follow, then I suggest you find a top 5. Start off with a top 3. Start off with a top 1. The bottom line is you must start. Begin the process. This is going to create growth. This is going to bring positivity to your life. This is going to open up so many more doors for my business entrepreneurs. If you are a procrastinator, it's going to derail, delay, or destroy the opportunities of you building credibility. You become more of a liability, a risk. I want to help you minimize that risk. I want to help you become better. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in. This is an episode of Bread Gems for Them. Episode 4, create the discipline, break the chains. You can follow me on social media. I on Instagram, I am _Bread Talker. On Facebook, just look for The Bread Talker. On YouTube, Bread Talk Investors is the channel. I thank you for tuning in this afternoon. I'll see you on the other side. Talk to me.